with Nelson Jordan. I'm Chris Nelson. If you have not done so already, please go ahead and subscribe to our YouTube page, follow us on all of our social media pages, and listen to us wherever you get your podcasts. Week 6 in college football, Nelson. Let's go ahead and give our shout-outs, and you know we've got some call-outs. So, start off. Shout-out, Nico Iamaleava. What a performance he had to beat the preseason number 2 Penn State Nittany Lions. An interim head coach for UCLA, a first-time play caller and offensive coordinator. I mean, the struggles they had to make this thing work, and they went out and got it done, 42-37. What a performance he had. 5 total touchdowns, 3 of them on the ground. He had, over 120 yards rushing, a good amount more passing yards. Unbelievable performance. His accuracy was on point. His decision-making was remarkable. I mean, he threaded the needle in some of those throws. He was making guys miss and breaking tackles on those runs. Extremely impressive. Shout out true freshman wide receiver Dallas Wilson from Florida. Excuse me. What a performance this kid had. A true freshman. And we talked about a couple of those last year. Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams for Ohio State and Alabama respectively. We've talked about one down in Miami this year. I mean, Malachi Tony, these guys are putting on a show. It is so impressive what they're able to do right off the bat. At such a young age, too, 17, 18 years old. And he really just dominated that Texas defense that is so highly touted and is expected of all of these studs. And he just had no trouble taking to that secondary. And on that note, call out the Texas tackling. That was embarrassing, the number of missed tackles we saw from that defense that is supposed to be so great against the supposedly inept Florida offense. It was the Florida defense that shone, picking off Arch Manning on back-to-back possessions in the fourth quarter, and call out Arch Manning, not just for that, primarily for that, but DJ Lagway completely outplayed Arch Manning. He is so inaccurate, Arch Manning that is. The interceptions, those situations can't happen. Just a poor performance on his part. And at this point, you're just a last name guy. Just saying.
No, it's
Shout
fair.
out Alabama's revenge. They went down. Go ahead. Yeah, absolutely.
No. I was gonna say honestly, yeah. I mean, when you get dropped out of the ranked AP top 25, and you do these kind of performances, every single week against the Florida team that you should have a chance, and at least you should make some plays. I mean, we're seeing the same old thing from you, Arch Manning, all the time. Nothing has changed, and reluctantly, I saw an article out that we got to give a lot of credit to Sarkisian for last year having to stick with what was his name, Viewers, over
Arch. I bet the
Arch.
Texas fans appreciate him right now.
Exactly, Ewers was way better than Arch. So yeah, got to give credit to where it's credit due, and you're absolutely right.
You know what?
Absolutely right about Arch.
I got a couple more things here, and then I'm going to throw something new in here that you just kind of prompted me for. First of all, shout out Alabama's revenge. They went down to Nashville last year and lost at Vanderbilt. Tough loss. I mean, it's Vandy. We know Nick Saban had called out that atmosphere, so on and so forth. That stadium does look terrible, by the way, with the construction, but hopefully we move past that. But this time in Tuscaloosa, game day was in town. Big-time game at 3:30, which obviously all three of these games that I've discussed were at 3:30. What a window that was. But while the top 2 teams in the AP poll went down, Alabama, the 8th-ranked team in the preseason poll, held serve 16-0 second half after it was tied at 14 at halftime. They forced 2 red zone turnovers, takeaways for Alabama's case. Outstanding performance to get that 30-14 win and get their revenge. And you know they wanted. They were feeling it. They were tired about hearing about Diego Pavia. And their quarterback went out, Ty Simpson, and had a show of his own. So shout out to them. And shout out true freshman quarterback Mitch Heinschel from Pitt. Forced into starting duty due to the struggles of Eli Holstein, who did come in a bit at garbage time because they put the beat down on Boston College. And he had himself a performance so impressive from a true freshman, put in a tough spot to go get it done and prove his coach right, justify his benching of a quarterback who's had some success, especially last season, and who I have said on this podcast I was never a fan of. I just didn't think he was the guy. So now he finally gets pushed out, and you just sit there and wonder if this had been the case from the start of the season, where would Pitt be? But who knows, and who knows how Eli Holstein may have played for an entire game against Boston College. Maybe they were just really bad. But we'll give him his credit, give him his flowers. What a performance. Call out the media. That's what you prompted me for. It's exhausting listening to these guys. Again, we're technically a part of it doing this, but they just spew nonsense, no stuff. Guys, watch the games. Watch the games. Stop assuming things just because someone else says it. Watch the games. Okay? I've got a lot more to say there, but I'm going to leave it at that. Actually, watch the games.
Don't be Paul
Nelson, what do
Feinbaum.
you got?
Uh,
Yeah,
well,
I
we're
can't
we are
stand
not
that
Paul
guy.
Feinbaum and some of these other guys on the SEC network that sometimes
No.
drive your head nuts. But no. So a couple of things, a couple of games that stood out, and I'm going to start out
Unless they
with
say
a
what you want
shout
them
out.
to.
Uh, a shout out to Virginia. Now I know, Chris, you're going to disagree with me, but at least Virginia finally they get into the AP top 25 last week. They got climbed higher up the ranks.
Who cares?
I gotta give it to them. You are 5-0 for the first time in
No,
quite
call
some
out the
time.
overtime rules for being terrible.
Well, I'm focusing on the good, okay? But at least for 5-0, you're 3-0 in
We're
conference
talking
play.
about Virginia. There's nothing good.
Okay, we can resonate this with NFL teams just like in college teams. You find a way to win the game, and that's what UVA has done. They find these little ways to win the game. Louisville in this game technically dominated them from every pinpoint of aspect of the game. But if you were watching that game, UVA never quit. They played till the final whistle, and they won it in overtime. You got to give credit to at least UVA for what they are, 5-0, and overall so far. We'll see how far they can keep going, but got to give credit to where it's credit due. You didn't touch on Baylor and Kansas State. This was a great game. Baylor and Kansas State. Cedar
What a
Robinson,
game.
25 for
Yeah.
39, 345, two TDs. We saw Michael Tariq go for 8 for 155 yards. Beautiful 66-yard pick six to continue the late rally for the Baylor Bears. And it was crazy. So the end of this game was really berserk and just nuts. You had Kansas State stretching out the lead. Then you had Baylor answering, responding. Then you had essentially Kansas State throwing a pick six, followed by the Baylor Bears
Yep.
blocking a field goal to win the game. I mean, this was special teams have been throughout
Again,
football for like the last couple of weeks,
it's all
and
listed.
this was no way a
I
better
know.
way to end this
I know.
game. I mean, it was just insanity.
It's awesome.
So, got to give shout out to this game because it was just on high octane from start to finish, and got to give ups to the Baylor
Yeah, no, that was
Bears.
the game in the noon window, no doubt.
Yeah, yep, that was big credit to the Baylor Bears for not giving up. The
Long,
game, I'm surprised
long field
you
goal
didn't.
attempts, low trajectory, makes it a bit easier to block.
Right. But the game that I did want to discuss about that normally you would highlight about every single week, you've been doing this for some time. How about the Armed Forces game? Navy versus Air Force. This was a game like somebody was playing NCAA football, 25 on like expert level. Did anybody see Brian Horvath go off? I mean, he had over, what was it? Look, I'm looking at the stats right now. He had well over 450 yards total scrimmage yards, whether that was passing, three TDs. He had 130 yards on the ground, one touchdown. I mean, this guy's insane. He was just going up and down in Air Force all game. I got to give credit also to the wideouts for both of these teams because they also had great games. Eli Henderich, 8 for 243, three TDs. Amazing work. And I got to give shout out to Air Force also because, again, the game was just so competitive. I got to give a shout out to Brian Fleischman, 6 for 166 and and one touchdown. I mean, these teams were going back and forth. It wasn't until the very end that Navy did put this away, but it was just an awesome game. And if anybody did not watch the highlights, because I mean, this was just up and down. You have anything to? Did you have
We
anything to
love
say? I
the
feel like you
service
want to jump on it.
academies.
Yeah.
Yeah, really quick, I just want to. We love the service academies, as you mentioned up the front. You're surprised I didn't say anything about it. Unfortunately, my noon window this past Saturday was spent in full misery. And so I missed, these games. I saw the highlights, as you mentioned, with Baylor and Kansas State. I did catch the end of that one, actually. I saw the block field goal live and a couple plays
Oh,
before
okay.
that. And I've seen the highlights. And same thing with that game between Navy and Air Force. But Navy runs the ball. That's their whole offense. They run the option offense. All they do is run. That's what Blake Horvath is so good at. And all of a sudden, they're airing it out against Air Force. Go figure.
I didn't expect that.
And it was nuts. I mean, who knew these receivers were this good? So that was the cool part about it. But yeah, absolutely. Now, so what else do you have? Keep going, man. Some good ones.
Michigan State and Nebraska. I don't know if this was on your timestamp, but I had this in my quad box also. Not that you don't watch quad box, but I had this in my quad box and
Yeah,
I'm
I
watching
watched
college
some of it.
football. And I got to call out the coaching staff for Michigan State. What gives? Your quarterback is hurt. He's having a rough game passing wise. I believe he only had maybe 10 or 11 total completions by the end of the game. At one point, he exited the game. Your backup comes in. Miljovic, he fills in admirably, leads the team down for a scoring drive, gets it within at least manageably. I think it was like two scores, less than 14 points. I'll say that. And I mean, why wouldn't you go with the quarterback that moved the ball down the field? Whereas your quarterback is hurt. He's missing a bunch of passes everywhere. It's like the ball is dropping a yard or two short. It just doesn't make sense. I get it. Your quarterback is a star quarterback, and he should be able to make those throws, but he's hurt. He was limping by the fourth quarter. I mean, what are you doing? You had Nebraska on their heels, but hey, listen, Nebraska, you got to give big ups to them too because they made the plays. I mean, Michigan State might have choked at the very end, so to speak. But shout out to also Everett Johnson, 13 for 83 yards and three touchdowns. The last one to finish the game off. I thought he had a great game. The last one I'm going to touch on, Miami and FSU, the nightcap of the games. Miami's defense is proving to be week in and week out. Possibly, and I say possibly, I think they might be second, but they might be the best defense in the country. These guys are fast. They play with a motor unlike no other. And they do have an offense that's able to at least score some points that gives them ability to come in rested and play with that ferociousness. I got to give a shout out to Carson Beck, though, in this game. 20 for 27, 240 yards, 4 TDs. Impressive against FSU's defense. And I say that because FSU's defense, we've seen them playing games where they do just eliminate a lot of key players from key games. We saw them do that in Alabama at home. We saw them do that in some other games as well, just to kind of name a few. But again, to do that, to get that defense, Carson Beck, shout out. I also got to give a shout out as well to the wide receivers, Malachi Tony and CJ Daniels. 165 yards combined, 4 TDs. Heck of a game. And again, continuing with the shout out, my last one for the defense. When you get 2 picks, a fumble, and all those pressures, this is why probably when the season is done, end of season, Miami might have the best defense in all of college football. Done.
Are we going to critique Miami for almost choking and give Florida State credit for their late rally? I think you got to call Miami out. I mean, Florida scored the last 19 points of that game and made it a game. They were only down 6, just running out of time. And I think they deserve credit for fighting back at the end there.
But
We're putting Miami in this pedestal. I mean, you got to play a complete game.
there's an asking of the questions where we have to know what was the mindset of the coaching staff. Are they putting in like the second stringers or third stringers and not leaving the ones out per se?
No, the guys were in.
So
No, the guys
well,
were out there.
well,
Florida State made a heck of a comeback. Almost
well,
came up short, but
well. In your books, when you say like comeback, there's no comeback unless you win, right? So I'll leave that one at that, right?
that's a fact. 100%. You're right there. You know what? That's a perfect place to leave it. That's all we have for this week, guys. We will be back with more of these next week. We will be back to talk NFL. You'll see those episodes as well, so go check them out. For Nelson Jordan, I'm Chris Nelson. This has been the First and Final Word.